So today's congregational circle is focused on the mission statement. And as you can see, we're sitting in a different formation to facilitate this, and we'll include our Zoom participants also. Now that we have a clearer idea of what a mission statement is and its importance, let's share our thoughts as to how we relate and implement our UUCC mission statement. It is our purpose and why we exist as a church. The mission statement: we strive to build community through love, to support spiritual growth, and to promote social and environmental justice. Please consider these 3 questions. What does our mission statement mean to you? Elaborate on one way that we fulfill our mission statement, and share one way that we could do more. We'll pass the mic. That will be our talking stick around the circle. Remember that we are practicing healthy communication between us as we share our thoughts and feelings. Everyone's perspectives are respected, valued, and appreciated. Please actively listen when others are speaking. Feel free to pass when it's your turn to speak. If you want to just listen, you are very welcome to do that. We will go around our circle and Zoom participates at least once. We'll end our circle about 10 to 11. And for those at home, please remain muted, but raise your hand, and at some point, Randy or I will call on you. So let's begin. You're welcome to pass. Use the microphone. You know, we decided that we had to use the mic because it was clearer for our Zoom people. And don't be intimidated.
Let's start with you.
Okay. And I do think you do a great job leading things.
We have a real bad buzz in the audience mic. I think it is.
Randy's working on the chord for us. No. Oh, that's not. There you go. Perfect. That was it? Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All set? As a member of the community for several years now, I think the mission statement and this community are a perfect match. I think it reflects what I've seen this community do, what it wants to do, and the like, from building community through love and to support spiritual growth and to provide social and environmental justice. I think it's very active on all those fronts, and it really sums up this community well. A couple of aspects. The community part of it, I think, is really important. Just being together like we are now is an important thing that's been lost to many of us over the years. People just don't get together anymore in this kind of format or form, and I think that's really important for society to survive correctly. Churches have fulfilled that role throughout history, and sometimes misused. I have different views on those things, but still it's an important role that these kind of community groups are important to a successful society and a good society. So that's number one. And there's kind of a side comment. I've often wondered about spirituality and spiritual growth, and I've wondered what spirituality really meant, and I still haven't quite succeeded in that. But when we come together as a community, I do feel a special spirituality. And so to me, that's what exists as far as my spirituality occurs in this group. So as far as things we could do more, that's difficult to say. I mean, we need to grow to spread the good word, as other churches say. And I didn't mean knocking door to door and having little pamphlets, but necessarily, but still, that's the one thing that's really hard to address and to deal with. So that's it for me. Who wants to go next?
I'd like to follow up on a couple of things he just said. One of the things I think we as a community can do so much better is to reach out and help one another. There are a number of people who are isolated in this community, they're alone, and I think by just reaching out and saying hello, helping people, finding out what we can do to help, that will do more to perpetuate the idealism of universal love and peace than just about anything else. So I'd like to see things done on a more practical level rather than an esoteric level. And that's probably my only concern. Julie, would you like to say something?
I like what Art just said, and I think that would be beneficial for growth as well, to reach out to people that aren't necessarily part of UU. And as far as all the other statements, I'm not sure if this pertains, but what is amazing to me about UU is the shared experience, how we have a different worship associate every week, and the joys and the concerns and everything that we do, or you do, because I haven't really joined anything yet, outside of today to create that community feeling. But yeah, I like Art's idea, is good, and I hope to get more involved with the things that you all do soon.
Well, good morning. Yeah, the business of love, to me, I'm always, I guess, loving through action. I'm always involved in something that I'm doing, and I hope that appropriately shares my caring about others and this planet and other creatures. Supporting spiritual growth, one of the things that of course appeals to me is, you know, the universal aspect of it. I was talking with Wayne just yesterday about, you know, my perspective on things. I was involved in a UCC church for a long time, and when I was young, you know, I was very immersed in Far Eastern thought, and so I mean, if someone were to nail me down and say, you know, well, what are you? I would have to tell them I'm a Buddhist. And so I spent most of my years in, you know, in any congregation, you know, reinterpreting everything I was hearing in terms of Buddhist teachings, which worked fine. You know, in an open type of community, you can do that, and I appreciate that about this particular community. I think it's also really great that so many of the people that have done presentations have certainly expanded my appreciation and awareness of spiritual growth in, geez, a whole number of different ways, which I think, you know, I think we're doing very well. As far as social and environmental justice, you know, we certainly are doing that with our groups, and every month I am graced with a number of people helping to clean up our local environment. I mean, we're responsible for 4 miles of highway, and we keep it pretty darn clean, if you ask me. So, that's another part and of course it's worked out well for us in terms of financial compensation, but we would have done it anyway, because, we're a group of people who do care about the environment. It's obvious, people talk about it all the time. So all those factors in the mission definitely, ring with me. So those are ways we fulfill our mission statement. What could we do more? Well, I think we're doing a lot to start with. I think we need to recognize that we are doing quite a bit. I think that there's an opportunity, because I was thinking about, a couple of people I know that, their particular religious organization just isn't quite, they're sort of neither right there, or they're sort of in between, they're not. So, all those kinds of things are the kinds of things where you really have to, I think, get belly button to belly button with people. You really have to speak to people one-to-one. If you really want to share an idea or to encourage participation with a group or with a mindset, it really has to be, I think, an interpersonal activity before somebody is going to want to come and join us. So I think that's really up to us, sort of on an individual basis, I guess.
Let's see, our mission statement, build community through love. I experience love in this community in many ways. Kind, loving, compassionate, good human beings with values. It's a pleasure to be part of this group, and I'm hoping that more people will come and join us in that way, and it's astonishing to me that they don't. That there are not more people out there who want to be part of something like this. It's surprising to me. I am, in terms of fulfilling the mission statement, well, let me go back to spiritual growth. I find spirituality in the music, in singing. I find spirituality in the readings, and in the connection and the bond that we have. The communion that we have, that's all feeling very spiritual to me. But I also know that spirituality has to do with opening to knowing oneself. And I think in that way, I think we're already very busy. So to add anything more to that, but I think in that area, we could spend a little bit more time knowing ourselves. Is it Socrates who said that? Know thyself? But I do experience the spiritual community here, so that's lovely. And I think we have a tremendous amount of hard-working human beings. When we first came together, the minister from San Luis Obispo had said to us, "You're too few people, and there'll be too many people who are doing all the work and some that don't do any, and you'll go down in a year." Well, thank you very much. She was wrong. We had a lot of people who did a lot of work, and I see people doing a lot of work. Much appreciation to those people who continue to keep us together with the amount of work that they put in. And I've also heard it said, I wish more people would come out for, but I think people are doing everything they possibly can be doing, actually, at this moment in time. They're putting out what they can put out. So I'm not sure if there is anything more we can do at this moment unless we get more members, and that may be something we want to focus on in brainstorming and seeing what can happen there. Thank you.
I'd hope to pass this on, but just one. Okay. what I have to say is very short. Just regarding the issue of spiritual growth and what was just said, this issue of self-knowledge. The thing that struck me coming here originally was this is my first experience with a lay-led congregation. And, excuse me, I find it useful, and in some ways I prefer it to a congregation that's led by a minister. The ministers are schooled in advising people, and that's all very well and good. But I found it very useful to come to these services and get different people's takes on what's going on with them or the world around them. And that then enables me to compare and perhaps take an idea here and an idea there. And also and also importantly, to be asked to give us a presentation causes one then to think very hard and very carefully. And that in itself is an amazingly useful exercise. And that only works when you have a willing audience willing to listen to what you have to say. So I think it's one of the marvelous features of this group. And I think I'd like to see more of that. Well, I like sermons, that other people like, over the summer, but I found it most valuable when I'm hearing stuff that's out of somebody else's direct experience. Something. But anyway, it's hard to say. That was the main thing. I just, what Diane said just kind of alerted me to that point. I mean, what do I really like about this group? And the singing, of course. This congregation is amazing, and it's small, but it makes a marvelous voice. So anyway, that's kind of everything. Wayne, are you prepared to speak?
Well, no, I will pass, but I did want, following up, when we have a real minister come to speak, for me, it's never as compelling as when I hear from one of you or from someone else who has not been through the training.
Funny. Yeah. So we don't have a minister, but we don't know what the hell we're doing, but we do it very well. My only thought about all of this, and I know we don't have to talk about every single point there, is that we don't reach out enough to draw people in. And I was just thinking about the big banner we have that we used years ago during the Women's March in Slow. And it was pour-assing rain, and Mary and I are carrying this thing in our raincoats and everything, Side with Love. And it was so effective. It was so wonderful. Why can't we do that, not like the other denominations at farmers market or other events, community events, and have Side with Love and sponsor something? Sign up for this march or sign up for this Earth Day event we're doing, sign up for this. We don't do that enough, and we really should. That's I don't know how you can include that in a mission statement to promote social and environmental justice by proselytizing or something. We don't want to do that, but we should do something.
I'm just going to pass, but I want to say we've been doing it for 15 years, so thank you, everybody.
And I do think that we should follow this up with a vision meeting. We've done the covenant, and we're doing the mission statement, but a vision statement. And I must say, for myself, becoming more spiritual has been when my arm has been pulled into the board, being on the board, being on different committees. So that's made it a deeper connection for me.
Following up on Jan's comment, I had something happen last month that really put it in perspective. There is a book, a bestseller book called The Search, which is about a Unitarian church down in the LA area searching. Okay, my book club, someone picked it. I still don't understand her. She's a diehard Roman Catholic, and she just thought it was the most wonderful book she'd ever read. But she knew nothing about Unitarianism, so we had our luncheon meeting to discuss the book, and I took all kinds of propaganda. And, but what I was amazed at, out of 10 people in this town, there were 5 who had never heard of Unitarianism, knew nothing about it, didn't know we were here. In a town this size, what are we doing wrong? Yeah.
I'm grateful to all of you for doing everything because I can no longer do anything. All my parts are falling apart one by one. So thank you for picking up the pieces and making it happen.
I really don't have anything additional to add. I'll pass.
Kat, please mute yourself and share.
Can you hear me? All right. Anyway, a long time ago, I don't know how long I've been a member of this church, maybe 8 years, maybe 10. But one time in the beginning, I went up to Dolores, I think she was the president back then as well. And I said, I told her some ideas that I had. And she said, well, do it. And I kind of shut me down. You know, it's like I didn't come up with any ideas again after that because I was afraid I was going to have to do it. So, and I wasn't willing. I just didn't want to or whatever, you know. But so I'm just focusing on the share one way we could do more. And I don't want to scare anybody off or anything, like she scared me off. But you know, I think we need to head up our ideas. You know, I mean, I love this idea of reaching out, you know, Art and Julia both reaching out to members of the community who don't get out much, or reaching out to members of the UU community and the broader community, to people who don't get out. But that project needs somebody to head it up, you know. So, I mean, we could do so much more if people headed up their ideas. It would be amazing. And I'm also on board with Jan. You know, I love the promotion, you know, and to promote ourselves so that, you know, we talked about at the board meeting last week. Why is it, you know, we're laughing because nobody ever reads the website, you know, nobody ever logs on to the website, but why don't they log on to the website? And how can we get it so that more people in the Cambria community log on to our website and find out more about us? I mean, that's like a marketing thing and something that we really could do more of. Thank you.
Okay, Jeff, if you would mute yourself and share.
There, folks. Just acknowledge all the great ideas that have already come through this. One of the big things I really love about this church is and you guys have already kind of mentioned it, is the fact that you guys get out and demonstrate a lot. Mostly on that street corner out there, just right by the Vets Hall, which I am really thrilled about. I love it when you guys are out there. I'm always passing by, usually honking the horn, and every once in a while I've actually stood up there with you guys. And I love that, and I think doing that like on a regular basis is pretty cool. So, and there's a lot to do it for. We certainly have the war and refrain, which most people have been talking about here. I think keeping awareness about that around the community is useful. And I think that's another way of getting people into church too, is being out there. Excuse me, and demonstrating. So I'm going to just say, hey, great, more of it. Let's do more of that. Stick with it. And I don't really have anything to fault anybody with. I think it's really great. I'm glad you guys are doing a lot of this stuff, and I'm happy to support all of it in any way that I can. And of course, I'd be happy to volunteer as well, Lane, so get a hold of me. So, and I think also projects like that, especially with taking care of the earth, which Wayne has definitely demonstrated a lot of that with us and given us a chance to do that in the community. I'd love to do more of that as well. So I'm happy to follow up with a lot of it. And again, I just want to acknowledge all of your guys' work and what you already have done. And I think that's really cool. And I'm just quite pleased. And I know pride is a sin, but I'm real proud of you guys for
Thank
doing
you,
all of
Jeff.
that.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much. Has everyone had a first turn here in the sanctuary that wants? Yes, Kathy has the last comment, and that's...
An acknowledgement of Margaret, who has done a lot over many years, and she was one of the original 8 or 10 initiators and told me about this 14 years ago when I came to the house.
Fantastic. Hey, great comments, great comments.
Okay, Anita would like to
Oh,
share.
Anita? Okay, go ahead.
Anita.
Hi. I always like to have the last word. And so I want to thank you all. I'm not a doer, but I like to pray and to play. And here is my little bunny. Thank you.